And we're live on hump day night. Hump day. Come, lift the energy. Adjust the camera just a little. Yeah, and that looks like it's fucking out of focus again. Is it? Fucking stupid webcam, seriously. Sometimes I think it's like just my eyes have gone funny. Tweaking the focus. Out, in, out, in. Oh my god, that'll do. This fucking webcam drives me off my trolley. It does. Wait a sec. Where's another control? I think I always look too red on other things. There, just arbitrarily doing that. Now maybe I look pale and sickly. If I do, that's accurate. Accurate color representation. Nobody, hello, good evening. And Stella, good evening to you as well. As we cruise into the second half of the work week. Thank you, Catherine. You're very kind to say it looks good. It's this webcam on my laptop gives me a very false impression of what the feed looks like on the other end, because it looks fine or, perfect at my end. And then I see it on Facebook later and I look orange or something fucking ridiculous. Who knows? I basically think this webcam's been too fucking clever for its own good. It's software driven with a million little controls, and it just fucks up sometimes. So now, earlier in the day, Eggsy wanted to be here tonight, but I haven't heard from him for a while. Yesterday, Eggsy was very keen to be here, and he showed up for the last half hour. So he literally could be here any minute. He could be here much, or he might not make it at all. These are the possible outcomes that the randomness of the universe delivers to us. So we shall see what we see. Stella, exciting news. You got both the new job you applied for, which is great, and the government contract for October. Yeah, celebrate good times. Come on. Alexander, good morning to you. That is truly fantastic news, Stella. And I toast you with my blood orange juice. I'll make something more appropriate for a celebration, i.e. alcoholic, soon. Yes. Catherine, AD is like a wizard in The Lord of the Rings. A wizard is never late nor early. A wizard always arrives exactly when he means to. And much the same with AD. Also with the weird magics as well. Ooh, Stella, you got the Starwood Manhattan. You will have to tell me what that's like, because I haven't tried it. I've only had the Starwood Old Fashioned, which is fucking great. And I do like a Manhattan, actually. Might make one. I want to make a couple of drinks that have this vermouth in it. And I was thinking of doing it for a video. I don't know. I just had this idea. I want to try something really different and milk clarify it. And I have no idea if it will work. I mean, I know the process of milk clarification will work. I just don't know from a taste point of view. And I was thinking of doing a Manhattan. Then I had this weird idea of, in the live stream I was watching earlier, Henry was talking up this. Well, I mean, I was talking up this particular vermouth I have that comes from Applewood. It's a yuzu vermouth. It's not just yuzu. But it's unique, close to unique in that it uses yuzu, the Japanese citrus, in its flavor profile. And I really like it. It's really red and fruity, and very good in Manhattan. And Henry talked about a couple of drinks with that in it. And I was thinking, like, I might make a whole bunch of these drinks and just sort of sip them and then just pour them all together. That's a pretty sick and weird thing to do, though. Pour them all together and milk clarify them and see what happens. Readers, good evening. Stella purchased a bottle of mezcal in Kalgoorlie. But it was Scorpion by name. Yes, it has a real scorpion in it. Mine has worms in it, but yes, the Scorpion brand one has a scorpion in it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Some people eat the scorpion out of the bottle. I don't think I would, personally. That's just me. I also haven't eaten the worms out of my mezcal bottle. Although I have eaten bugs. So, hey, Celtic King. I don't know if people remember, I put some actually video on it when Mrs. Angry got me a whole bunch of edible bugs for my birthday, and I did taste test a whole bunch of them on live streams. They were not bad. Personally, I think it's our future. When we get to mass die-offs and climate collapse and whatnot, the few survivors, it'll all be about bugs and plankton. Stella, you think it's respectful to eat it after the sacrifice it's made to be in your mezcal? Yep, no, that's a fair point. So the drinks I was thinking of making, besides a Manhattan, was a Hanky Panky, which is a classic. Hanky Panky is gin and red vermouth and just a little bit of Fernet Branca, which is a very sort of mentholy bitter thing. Yes, Stella, crickets were among the bugs I got. There were crickets and mealworms and some ants. There were ants in it. They looked like pepper, little black ants that had been, I think, dry roasted. I don't think they were fried. I think they were dry roasted. I think they were all dry roasted, the point that they were very light and crunchy. So Hanky Panky's gin and red vermouth and a little bit of Fernet Branca. And the other one was the Martinez. Most people agree is a precursor to the cocktail that everyone loves, the martini. A Martinez is gin and the sweet vermouth and a little bit of maraschino liqueur. Which is a nice combo. And in fact, the Martinez is such an old drink. It used to be made with sort of a proto gin called Old Geneva, which isn't really made anymore, although I think some people are making it. And it's a juniper drink like gin, but unlike gin, it's also got a mix of malt spirit in it, like whiskey, basically. So from a certain perspective, Old Geneva is a cross between whiskey and gin. So I've approximated it in drinks. I think when I made a Martinez, rather than go the full measure of gin that they say, I did, I don't remember if I did it half gin whiskey or 2/3 gin, 1/3 whiskey, which may or may not be a good approximation of Old Geneva. I don't know. Thank you for the Hanky Panky, Celtic King. So what was the other one? It was a Hanky Panky, a Martinez, and a Rosita. A Rosita cocktail. Because that's mezcal, actually. Or is it just tequila? Rosita is tequila and red bitter liqueur dry vermouth and sweet vermouth. So if I mix them all up, that would be a wild old combo with gin and maybe a little bit of whiskey and tequila and vermouth. So you think you've mentioned before, but ate some ants in the Daintree that legit tasted like Red Rock Deli lime and pepper chips. Would recommend, definitely. Celtic King, Aidsy wanted to join the live stream and now I haven't heard from him for ages. I emailed him the link and texted him to remind him. But I don't know, last night he appeared for the last half hour. As I said before, he could appear at any moment or much later or not at all. Excuse me. One of those things will happen. Aidsy will appear soon, later, not at all. So, what do the fates have in store for us? Who knows, who knows, who knows? The fates are mysterious and fickle. And difficult to judge. Still trying to decide what cocktail to make for my cocktail channel this week. I was going to make one tonight, but I'm not dressed for it. But it wouldn't be difficult to go and put on my cocktail making garb. Just put a shirt on and a tie and my vest. Yeah, so I might just keep it for tomorrow night because I'm more comfortable having a couple of drinks on a Thursday night than a Wednesday night. Not to say I won't have a drink tonight because I'm kind of planning to. Raiders, is Sam Newman going to Barwon prison? I hope he gets arrested for incitement, the fucking sack of shit. He's just such vile, contemptible garbage. He is a piece of shit. And they have been arresting a lot of people for incitement because they are trying to very clearly send the message inciting people to commit an offense. And these protests, besides being stupid, are also illegal. And so inciting people to commit an offense, that is an offense in itself. And so the cops can arrest the people. Apparently, one of these dickheads live streamed on when the cops came into their house to arrest them. She's wearing her pajamas, which I think is hilarious. Celtic King, Sam Newman is a fucking moronic pile of shit who's been saying, COVID's not real. We've got to protest these restrictions. Everyone's got to take to the streets and protest in a large group, which is completely illegal, and inciting people to do that is illegal. Yeah, Stella, the woman in Ballarat, yeah, pretty funny. Arrested on a Facebook stream in her PJs. Yeah, I fucking hate these people so much. They're a combination of really stupid and horrifically self-absorbed, just like really, really, really contemptible people. Oh, yeah, the woman in Ballarat trying to protest when the cops were arresting her on camera, saying she was pregnant and had to go to an ultrasound appointment. If I were a gambling person, I'd call absolute bullshit on that. But I don't know any gambling platform that will take that bet. So, yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. We just don't know. But yeah, I want them all to be arrested, basically. Nobody, Thasby, don't do tactile. That is fair. That is absolutely fair. Yeah, oh yeah, no, Raiders. Yeah, these people are also absolute hypocrites. I don't want the government telling me what to do, but Trump's saying law and order is great. They're, and I think most of them are actually too stupid to understand the hypocrisy of what they're doing. And then there are the ones that are just evil and know they're talking out both sides of their mouth, and they just don't fucking care because they're self-interested pieces of shit. It's like the ones in America who uh, love putting that old icon of the snake saying "Don't tread on me," and like as in, authoritarians don't limit my life, and at the same time, like, yeah, Trump should definitely enforce a police state against people I don't like. Like, fucking hell. Yeah, Stellar, it is a pretty funny video. The these people are so stupid. Like that, when they say these things, they in their little Facebook groups, they convince themselves they've got some sort of legal standing for their not wanting to obey the directives. And so they say this dumb shit to the cops, and the cops are like, that's not a thing. That is not a thing. And the cops have been trained now that they know the ridiculous shit these morons are going to say. The cops have been given the script of the exact thing to say, under section blah, 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 subsection blah, blah, blah. I'm arresting you. It's just right. He's putting out Davian had to point out Darren Hinch, who was retweeting a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I mean, Hinch is not that bright, quite honestly. Yeah, I saw that too, Bobo. The Trump fans with their pickup trucks rolling through the streets, spraying pepper spray, shooting paintball guns. They do look a lot like ISIS. ISIS like Toyotas, didn't they? The sort of marketing Toyota didn't necessarily want their brand being in the news because ISIS were tooling around in Toyota pickup trucks. But I don't know. They're just such absolute fucking assholes. Like, unmitigated pieces of shit. There's so much contempt for them. I hate them so much. Ugh. It's just, but what the fuck is happening to the world? And now they've started shooting in the US. The likelihood of escalation in the coming weeks is very high, unfortunately. Celtic King, can you come to Melbourne and cuddle me? No, on a number of counts, actually. Not least social distancing rules, and coupled with being in a relationship. So, no on a number of fronts. Yeah, no, Raiders, it is really disturbing to see what is happening. And although it's not solely, but largely the Trump nut jobs sort of cosplaying with their guns, LARPing like they're big soldier men or something. There are some pretty dedicated activists on the other side who fucking have guns. So it's just that they're about 1,000 times more responsible than the fuckwits who jerk off over Trump. But the point of escalation cannot be far away. It's really disturbing. Yes, Raiders. Yes. Oh my God, the fucking Q nutcases in Morrison's inner circle. Oh, absolutely terrifying. And that cockhead, oh God, I refuse to remember his name, who keeps spouting the conspiracies and, oh, hydrochloroquine is a miracle drug. It's a crime to stop people from getting it. Oh, it's a conspiracy. Oh, you should jail the bloody Dan Andrews for not. And people keep saying to Scott Morrison, what the fuck are you going to do about this absolute deranged piece of shit? And he goes, oh, you know, free speech. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, fuck. It's just, oh my God. Was it Craig Kelly or something like that? God, he's a fucking piece of shit. And again, stupid as all hell. Sometimes it's hard to be sure when the people who spout this shit are genuinely that stupid, and tell if they're genuinely stupid or if they're just really evil, malicious, self-interested cunts who know they're lying. It's because they sound the same. The evil, malicious, self-interested cunts sound exactly like the fucking brain dead cunts, and you can't tell them apart. Yeah, you're Mr. Irrelevant, Tony Abbott, just doing public statements like, no, we should just be letting people die. It's good. It was costing too much money to not have people. Again, this absolute rejection of the science and the reality of how serious this disease is, that without the sort of strict controls that have been put in place around the world, it would rip through populations. It would very quickly move beyond killing just old people. The fatality rate would very quickly climb from 2 or 3% to 10+%. And the infection rate, left unchecked in the population, it would definitely more than 75% of the population, if not near 100, over like a year or two, 75 to 100% of the population would contract the virus. And then you are just talking about millions and millions of people dying, and the economy would crash anyway. And these fucking pieces of shit are in absolute denial about it. They act like there's a choice of two things: opening up the economy and tooling along, or protecting people and the economy dies. It's like, no. If you open up the economy, you get a huge number of people dying, and the economy collapses anyway. It's just like, get fucked. Kilter King, you got a text from Toby. He says, hello if you're live streaming. Hello, Toby. Raiders, the initial push for hydrochloroquine was due to a huge stock purchases by Republicans, Big Pharma. Yeah. And of course, everyone was a combination of hopeful and desperate for a treatment, and we just don't have one yet. Hey, Luke, how's it going? And of course, it's the two-pronged thing. An effective vaccine that would stop everyone getting infected would be good, but an effective treatment, an effective and widely available treatment that consistently lowered the severity of the sickness and reduced the likelihood of dying, that would also be good. But we don't have that yet. We have some things that show some promise. Hydroxychloroquine is not one of them. And I think most medical authorities have decided it's actually too dangerous. On the small chance it might help some people, the side effects and complications are far too high a risk. So yes, I know there's a few that's kind of have some positive effect, Alex, and they're all difficult to pronounce. Dexamethasone. Celtic King, you want to but yeah, we don't have an effective treatment, and we are a long fucking way from a widely available vaccine if we ever get one. Remembering we have this is a new or novel coronavirus, but there have been many other coronaviruses, and we've never developed a vaccine for one. So, hey. So, yeah, I mean, absent a vaccine or a much better treatment than we have now, and both are possible, and it's also possible we won't get either, over the next 2 years, no matter what we do, a fuck ton of people are going to die. It's just we have to work out the strategy of what sort of balance can we strike between the number of cases and keeping things going. Because if we, again, as you've seen how quickly infections can spike, if you don't aggressively act, you get New York or Italy with just a fuck ton of people dying, hospitals getting overwhelmed. So then a huge number of people who wouldn't have died if they got the proper care do die because they don't get the care, and you get fucking refrigerated trucks in car parks full of bodies. And New York and Italy only got that under control with like really strict shutdowns, like what we've got in Melbourne now. And you actually can't keep doing that forever. You just can't. But if you get cases down to a manageable number, then you can have a strategy for management rolling into the future. Because everything's different from here on out. Everything's different. Yes, Luke, we are in, according to the definitions, a recession. And shit is going to get much worse in the next couple of years. Here's the thing. You get these fuckwit right-wingers who act like, if you care about people dying, you don't understand the economic impact. It's going, I understand the economic impact. The economic impact's going to last for at least 5 to 10 years. We'll still be seeing the effects of this. But what those pieces of shit are in denial about, whether they know they're wrong and they're deliberately lying, or they just don't fucking care about people. But yeah, the disease left unchecked would crash the economy worse than what we're seeing now, and millions of people would die unnecessarily. With a proper plan, there is absolutely going to be economic hardship for an extended period, but maybe millions of people don't have to die as well, because if it gets out of control and just millions of people are dying everywhere, the world economy goes down the fucking toilet anyway. Mass panic and all that sort of shit. Like I said, it's really hard to tell when they're being disingenuous, evil fucks and when they're just dumb as shit. Because the ones who are dumb as shit, who genuinely believe absolutely deranged fuckery, like 5G conspiracies and Bill Gates wants to microchip everyone, they sound exactly the same as the evil right-wing fucks who just don't care about people dying and are in massive denial about what that will do to the economy. Yes, Raiders, Tony Abbott was the latest saying, just let people die. It's just like, what a fucking piece of shit. Oh yeah, nobody. Their whole strategy is they don't care about people. The Tories in the UK are edging back towards openly saying herd immunity, which means let the disease run wild, and then they're going to get shocked when the health system collapses. It's like okay, in a perfect set of circumstances, the fatality rate for COVID-19 would probably only be about 1%. But when it's the whole population, 1% is a lot of people, which they seem to be in real denial about. But what we've seen is you get a surge of cases in the hospital. The fatality rate quickly starts ratcheting up 3, 4, 5, 10% really fast. And it's not just the people who die. It's the people who suffer anywhere from medium term to permanent disability, really severe health problems. And that's up to 30% of people have at least medium term health problems, like taking months to recover, and in a lot of cases, never recovering from the damage to their body. Hellion, hello to you, Kirsten, and Invisible Chicken. Hello. Luke Morford, yeah, the woman in Ballarat was arrested for incitement for making posts on Facebook encouraging people to break the law. Inciting people to break the law is breaking the law. And I want them to fucking get Sam Newman, because he's doing it and he fucking needs to be arrested. I fucking hate that guy so much. Racist, misogynist, homophobic piece of shit who's also a spineless, gutless cunt who won't even own what he is. He always denies all these horrific behavior. I'm not a misogynist, I'm not a racist. You fucking are, you fucking cunt. Ugh. Oh, I hate him. And we're just really getting into the people I hate tonight. I hate them so much. I hate them. Yeah, I think I should do my weird experiment with milk clarification tonight with vermouth drinks. Dare I just do the whole melange of vermouth and gin and whiskey and tequila? Yes, nobody. We've seen this with lots of things. I said glandular fever can hit you with chronic fatigue permanently. Oh no, Kirsten, things went sideways on Henry's stream. I'm so sad I missed it. What actually happened? Because his guest was quite interesting. Yeah. See, Alexander, you come into contact with people with permanent disability, and it's not just lungs. Like you think, oh, it's a lung disease. Oh, your lungs going, which is very high risk. But we've seen close to conclusive evidence it affects your cardiopulmonary system, damages people's hearts, and I mean badly, like leaves them incredibly susceptible to complications from that, and a few other cardiovascular diseases, and just organ damage. Oh no, it was another drunk cowboy. She got too drunk. The guest got too drunk and couldn't even say, okay, the live stream will be up. I'm going to have to watch the last half hour that I missed. Priceless. Because they said at the start, Henry delivered 6 cocktails, which is a bit much in 2 hours. 1 hour is how long it's meant to go. But if you kept going, it's like close enough to 2 hours. 6 cocktails in 2 hours is a bit much. 6 cocktails in 1 hour is very much too much. And particularly if you throw in a couple of shots for saying no words. Luke, you're up for me throwing them together like a witch in a cauldron. All right. Okay, Kirsten, tell me if you think this is madness. I was really intrigued by all the drinks Henry suggested were really good with the Unico Yuzo vermouth. So, I mean, I like a Manhattan. So Manhattan, a Hanky Panky, a Martinez, and a Rosita. And I was just going to like taste test it. I was going to make them and taste test them, and then as a milk clarification experiment, just pour them all into one cup and milk clarify that and see what comes out the other end. Yeah, Kirsten, that might have been a learning experience. Make less cocktails. 6 is probably too many. Safa, good evening to you. So yeah, I think I'm going to do the mad scientist experiment. You know, what the hell? Have fun. I'll make a few drinks. So these are probably all stirred. Martinez is stirred. Rosita is stirred. Yeah, they're all stirred. Okay, I just need my stirring glass. Right. Stirring glass. That's what I need. Which ones? I'll maybe start with the mildest one, so not the tequila one. The Martinez. I'll make a Hanky Panky. Well, you've got a little bit of Fernet Branca for fun. Yes. All right. Where's my stirring glass? It's over there. All right. All right. My stirring glass. Bum, 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 bum. So if I'm going to make a Hanky Panky first, so I want a gin and a vermouth and a Fernet Branca. Which gin? Okay, Kirsten, Queen of Gin. We're going to make a Hanky Panky, which recommends a dry gin, but like gin, sweet vermouth, and Fernet Branca. You think, should I do my Tiny Bear Doctor, Tiny Bear Gypsy, Brogan's Way, Navy Strength, or Applewood Finger Lime? Choices. Right, well, I'm going to get some other things. Okay, where's my Fernet Branca? It's full. I almost never use Fernet Branca, but it's good to have. Yuzu Vermouth, where are you? There you are. Yuzu Vermouth. Unico Yuzu. Yuzu Duzu. And a gin. Doctor. Okay, thanks, Kirsten. I'm going to go with the Doctor. Still a little bit of that left, actually. All right. So, gross. I'm going to put this ice in my mixing glass to chill my drink. Right. You bloody well right. Okay, so how much am I meant to put in a Hanky Panky? I don't have my jigger. Not my jigger. Okay. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-ba. I need... What's this doing over here? Had that in it. That's okay. All right. I'm getting my components ready. All right. Righty-roo. Okay. First cab off the rank. Going to make a Hanky Panky. So, 45 mils of gin. Dun, dun, dun. 45 mils of Vermouth. Oh, that's a satisfying sound, isn't it? Love that sound. You get a good pop from a cork. Ooh, that makes it go a good color. Show it to you. It's like purple. That's a fantastic color. Love that. And just a little bit, a splashy, 2.5 mils. Just a splash. I'll use my bar spoon. Just a splash of Fernet Branca. That's a very small amount of Fernet Branca. So Hanky Panky, yes, is basically a sweet martini with just a little twist of a tiny bit of Fernet Branca, which is very strong. Not alcohol-wise, taste-wise. Probably not very strong alcohol-wise, actually. These things tend not to be. Oh, shit, it's 39%. I thought it would be about 19%. It's twice as strong as I thought it was. The Unico Yuzo. It's only 16%. Most vermouths are not that strong. Stir, stir, stir. He likes the sound of ice being stirred in a drink. Morty, we gotta go to Bendigo. Yes. No, but I love that. If you listen closely to Tony Abbott, you can hear his two brain cells bumping into each other. Yeah. That was a really, really weird. Yeah, that Australian animation riffing on Rick and Morty was extremely strange. I love it. Ooh, and I need my strainer and a glass. Hawthorne strainer. And this is a very untraditional glass, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, ironically, Safa, Abbott hates old people. Abbott is an old people. It's very weird. Some of these people, I mean, okay, Abbott's really fit, which would make him low risk if he did get sick. But I've seen some pretty disturbing photos of people who were young and fit who got really, really badly fucked up by the Rona. Look at that. Such a great color. I love the color this Unico Yuzo makes drinks go. It's fantastic. And can I taste? Yeah, even though it was really just the tiniest amount of that Fernet Branca, you can taste it. It does, doesn't it, Safa? It looks like pomegranate juice. Well, yeah, this is obviously, it's a wine base. Vermouth is an aromatized wine. It's obviously a red wine base. They say it's a Merlot, I think. Oh, that's Aidsy. Does that mean he's joining us, or is he telling me he's not joining us? Let's see. What's he saying? Yep. I need to remind him that I did email him the link. All right, so I'm only sipping that, and now it goes in the mixing glass for the witch's potion. It's funny, this is going to end up being really red, and so I'm really intrigued to see what color it's going to be after milk clarification. Also, I'd be very interested in suggestions from you Kirsten, about because I have to use something citrusy, or I have to use lemon juice or lime juice or pineapple juice to start the process of the clarification, the curdling. I'd be very interested in what juice you think would be best. Yes, Luke, AD is still in hospital. He's going to be in some sort of care for quite a while yet, I think. All right, so the next one I'm going to do a little taste test of. Okay, I'm going to do this experiment with a Martinez. It says to use Old Tom style, but it was originally made with Old Geneva, which is kind of like a cross between gin and whiskey, basically. Yeah. So I'm going to experiment with this one. You want a soft citrus. Okay, you're speaking in riddles to me there. What would you call a soft citrus? But for now, I am going to make a Martinez. Yes, I have blood orange. Yes, you think blood orange is the way to go. I have some freshly squozened blood orange I can use. And hopefully that will be acid enough. It's less acid than lemon, but it should be acid enough. Yeah, it's got to be a certain amount of pH to curdle the milk. And I think blood orange will be high enough. Okay, so I'm going to do a different gin in this one. I mean, for a laugh, I might... yeah, well, we're going citrusy. I'm going to do finger lime gin for this one. For no particular reason. And I'm going to put a little bit of Fortis in it. Because I'm a madman. Put the Philip drinker back. Maraschino. Okay. Where's my maraschino? In this beautiful, tasteful 70s bottle. Right. I'm going to get some fresh ice in there. Going to try cracking the ice again. Right. Which I have a very mixed track record with how well cracking ice goes for me. Oh, some of that went in the glass. That's a plus. Come on, one more. You can come apart. That'll do. That's cracked it. I'm going to go. No, AD hasn't found us yet. Okay. Oh, that does look like Brogan's Way, doesn't it? Maybe that's God speaking to me. I'm using Brogan's Way in this. Okay. I'll do finger lime in the other one. Right. So, a Martinez. 1.5 ounces of gin. So I'm going to do 1 ounce of gin and 0.5 ounce of whiskey, both the high proof ones, because I'm a madman. Okay. Ba-boom. Ounce of the Navy Strength gin. And 0.5 ounce of the Fortis whiskey. Alrighty. for my ghetto take on all Geneva, and 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth. There we go. That same fantastic colour. What are you doing, Nicky? Okay. His iPad's saying he has to update something and he doesn't know how to do it. So we may or may not see him. And just a little bit, 1/4 ounce of maraschino. All right. So this is like a proto martini. The other one was basically like a sweet martini, but a little bit of the menthol Fernet Branca. These are both kind of versions of sweet martinis. This one should be sweeter. Is that a good noise or a bad noise, me stirring the ice? What everyone thinks about it. All right. I mean, I'm still going to do it, but I'm just interested. All right. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Unsurprisingly, very similar color. And it is a fantastic color. I love the color so much. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. The husband could hear it through your headphones. This is more my pace. Oh, my God. Oh, wow, yeah. The Martinez is much more my style. I didn't mind the hanky panky. The Martinez is much more my style. I'm liking that. But it's going in the Witch's Brew. All right. Now for the tequila one, the Rosita. Okay, so tequila, and it wants a little bit of dry vermouth as well. Okay. So actually no gin in this one, so I'll put this back. Put the whiskey and the gin back. Tequila. Which one was the tequila? This was the tequila. I've got this citrus tequila. I'm going to use it. Just because I'm crazy. And what else was I meant to get? Put the maraschino back. The dry vermouth. That's all. Oh no, I knew there was something else. The bitter red. Okay, I'm going to wuss and use a splash of Oka bitter because it's too bitter for me. White vermouth. Okay. Okay, so this one is the color. I infused this with citrus peel. 45 mils of tequila. It's the law. I poured that straight into the glass, which honestly, you really could just build this in the glass. There's no reason not to, but it'd be a bit easier to stir in my stirring glass. So I'll actually put it back in there. Okay. Bitter red liqueur. No, I'm not putting 15 mils in. I'm going to put a little splash in. 15 mils of dry vermouth. And once more with the sweet red vermouth. Pick up the volume a bit there. There we go. And it's basically the same color as the other ones because the Unico Yuzu is just really dictating the color. Reet. Stirring once more. Will do. Throwing that into my glass. All right. In you go. There you go. See, it's basically the same color. Hey, Jim with the great big wobbly dangly ones. Yes. Stella. Starwood Manhattan's a winner. Oh, wow, this is good. This is lighter than the Martinez. He reckons he doesn't see the email. Yep. Okay. I'll send it again. Right. Alrighty. So, yeah, hey, Gecko, how's it going? Invisible Chicken, Witch's Brew reminds you of a story one of your Japanese teachers said. When she was in university, people she shared a dorm with made a bowl of random alcohol for Australians to drink. Yeah, that sounds fair. But, yep, same color. That's really good. It's lighter than the Martinez. But that's what I'm going to do it. Now, into the Witch's Brew it goes. Okay. So, what volume do we have in there now? We have about 250 mils. About 250 mils. Oh, he's here. Here we go. Here comes your man.
Hello, big guy.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, peeps. How are ya? I've had a really torrid time.
Had a torrid time.
Trying to get everything together. Hospitals are funny places. They run at their own timetable.
Yeah.
Which is a rhapsodical, catawampus kind of place. Their calendar is written in crayon, dipped in blood on TV screens. And it says, make Adrian do stupid things. Do you know the stupidest thing I did today?
What was the stupidest thing you did today?
I got out of the shower and the nurse says, you must go and open your bowels now.
Wow.
And I've gone, I am not in the physical place to open my bowels now.
Yeah.
And she said, you must sit on the toilet and open your bowels now. And I've gone, you've got to have bowels to open.
Yeah.
And I've got this big lump of poo coming through, but it's not ready. It's just not ready. And,
It's brewing.
And yeah, it's brewing, right? And friggin' she said, you got to go now. And the other nurse that was with her looked at her and went, like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's a weird thing to do to
With
someone.
big eyes going, are you serious? And I just got out of the shower. Could we have done this before I got in the shower? And she's gone, now, you got to do it now. And she kept on coming in every 5 minutes, going anything, and going, not while you're standing at the door looking at me.
Yeah.
And finally I managed to make something happen. And she's going, oh, that's great. I'm going, it's not. It's nothing. It's got nothing to do with a massive thing coming through me. What the fuck? Do you have any idea of what anatomy does? And no, it appears. She asked me to clean under my foreskin, which I don't have. And she's seen it.
Whoosh.
Several times, and I'm going, shit, we're in trouble here. Maybe it's just she's working off a list. I don't know. Yeah. And I was kind of looking at her and going, and I in the end, I just went, sure, no problem. Because again, when I was in the shower, she kept on coming in and said, are you right? I'm sitting in a fucking chair in the shower. Mm-hmm. You can't go anywhere. You can't fall over. You can't do anything to be bad. You just got to wash. Goody, wash. And it's fun in a hospital shower because you can be there for 2 hours, and I try to every time. Mm-hmm. She, however, lost her brain after an hour and said, you must get out of the shower. And I went, I am working on it, which was the funniest line I've said all day in the hospital. I'm working on it. The other nurse laughed, and she laughed out loud and then went and choked back. And she came to me later and went, you bastard. You bastard. I nearly got fired because of that. You bastard. Do you want a cup of coffee? And I went, yes, please. And I'm working on it. So next time someone tells you to stop doing something that you enjoy, that is comforting, is really the only thing you're going to enjoy all day, say, I'm working on it.
Good one.
Stop drinking. I'm working on it. Stop smoking crack. I'm working on it.
Take it under advisement.
Stop rooting that teenager. Working on it. Actually, that's better.
Yeah. It is an all-purpose response. Now you put it like that, it's an all-purpose response.
Yeah. Still not better than my all-purpose picture captioning sentence, which is, and I'm gonna share the secret with you now, good public. Any picture you have, any picture, it could be modern art, it could be a Picasso, it could be an advertising slogan, it could be a picture from your phone of your friends. What you do is you cut off the captions there and you write, that's the last time I buy you a hat. And it works for every single photo you've ever seen. Remember that photo of the koala drinking the water from the fireman?
Yes.
I captioned it, that's the last time I buy you a hat. And people pissed themselves laughing, and they didn't know why. Yeah. There was a picture of a girl who was having a massive crap attack in the US. Yes. And her friends, the bastards, have come in and taken photos of her. And she's got this mixture of push grunt and you bastards and laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've captioned it, "That's the last time I buy you a hat."
Yeah.
Perfect. I've got pictures of Angry, and I was, I will admit, off my guts one night, and I captioned about 50 of them. "That's the last time I buy you a hat." They all work. Downside, can't find specific pictures.
Because you thought the same thing.
So what I suggest is caption them all. "That's the last time I buy you a hat," and then in brackets put another title so you can find them. And then when you display them, just cut off the other title. It'll work for you. It'll work for your children. It'll work for your children's children, and then technology and culture will have changed.
Yeah.
I tried this out. And to be the same nurse that demanded that I shower quickly, an hour, and have a crap immediately. What the fuck? And she said, "Okay, so there you go. You've got everything, and everything's happy." And I said, "Brilliant. That's the last time I buy you a hat." And I just dumped it into the sentence. No context, nothing, and then kept going. I don't know what I said after, but I just kept going. And she sort of looked at me, because the rest of the sentence made sense, and the first bit of the sentence made sense. But that "last time I buy you a hat," just dumped in the middle, just was out of there. And she said, why did you say "that's the last time I buy you a hat"? And I went, "What?" Yeah, because I really needed one back on her.
Mind games. I love it.
And she went, why did you say "that's the last time I buy you a hat"? And I said, I'm missing you. Sorry, I've got the short-term memory loss thing, but I'm obviously not hearing you right. Can you maybe say it a different way? We played this for 15 minutes before she gave up, and I was just so fucking happy when she left the room.
The devil.
I really, really needed to smack her, and because she was micromanaging, right? I'd get out of bed, and she'd say, "You are too far away from the walker, the four-wheelie frame walker, which is the only way I can walk at the moment." And I'm going, "It's just over there. I can reach it with my hands. But I don't want you to lean. I am sitting on the bed. The only way I can fall is sideways onto the bed.
Yeah.
And I won't fall because the walker is close." And so I've grabbed it and put it in front of me. And she said, "That is not the correct way to do it." She's grabbed it and put it back and made me shuffle across. And I've just gone,
"Oh dear,
our day is not going to go well." I am very attached to the drugs they give me in hospital because they deal with my anxiety. I'm happy to tell the public here that I have very high anxiety, exceptionally high anxiety. I had an anxiety attack at Angry Studios once. There's two types of anxiety. There's environmental anxiety, which is the kind of thing you get at Christmas in a shopping mall when you get a screaming kid, people are fighting, and your partner or your person that you're with starts to lose it and starts shouting at you. That's environmental anxiety. You can actually fix that by meditation, relaxation, and tactical understanding. Tactical understanding is the immediate problem is my friend shouting at me. Why are they shouting at me? Well, they're stressed. Why are they stressed? We're in a shopping mall with two people fighting and a kid screaming. What do I do to fix this tactical situation? Change the script. Hey, friend, we're both head up. Let's just get an icy pole and fuck off outside and have a smoke for 5 minutes and just breathe. And 9 times out of 10, your friend will say, we've got to finish the Christmas shopping. And you'll say, well, we're malls open all day and we'll be okay. Let's just go and take 5 minutes out for ourselves. And then they'll go, yeah, buy them an icy pole, go outside. And the whole fix-up of your relationship between your friendship or your lover has cost you $1.80. Not bad work. And it brings your tension down. It brings their tension down. And then you can tack their Christmas shopping or whatever the fuck it is with a renewed sense of calm. SAS troops use this during live fire exercises. They're trained to go, what is the first threat? What is the next threat? What is the last threat? What is no threat? And what they do is they use Australian citizens from the countries they'll be fighting in, using the language they'll be using in the countries they'll be fighting. And they get amputees from those countries, and they get ex-soldiers from those countries, and the ex-soldiers shoot at them. The civilians run around in panic, and the amputees are fixed up to look like they've just hit an IED. And then they run these SAS guys through this and go, what are you going to do? And the violence and the panic and the screaming would fuck up you and me straight away. Like, you blow your mind. But they're trying to go, okay, the guy who's just blown up his leg is not a threat to me. I do have to help him, but I can't help him now because I'm getting shot at. The civilians are in the way, and they're going to get shot if they stay here. So they have to be moved and they have to be shielded. So you order them against walls, not inside houses, but against walls. And then you send your troops off to fire phosphor grenades at people shooting at you, which really slows them down. And if you can do that in 10 seconds, which they do, then you've recontrolled the situation and you've calmed yourself. You've settled the local situation. You can then fix up guys who are wounded, and you can then sort out where the civilians live, and then you can sort out the good guys from the bad guys. And it worked a treat. Sent so many Australians over there, and we had one of the lowest wartime death tolls of any country that went over there because the guys knew what was happening. Sorry.
I'm just going to jump in to let people know. AD can't see the chat, so I did just want to say hello to Annette and John and Good Spirit, who came into the chat and said hello, and Jude Maris, hello. And speaking of hospitals, Gecko shared his mum's in hospital with has had a heart attack and is not doing well. So hoping for the best for you, buddy. I do know what you were saying about violence and screaming. And it's go, well, that's an everyday occurrence for someone who's got a partner with borderline personality disorder. So the technique would have helped you as well, Annette. So
seriously, environmental panic attack is. I'm not minimising it. I'm just saying that you can deal with it. Because when we were looking for what was causing my panic attacks, myself and a psychiatrist went through every fucking meditation technique and relaxation technique in the world. And we upped the ante every time until we got to this SAS system. And those guys are next level. They do shit that you and I would not imagine in their fucking entrance exam, you know, to get into the course. One of the things they have to do is scale a virtually sheer cliff in the wet, in the rain. The way they make it wet and rain is they pour fucking fire hoses over the side of this fucking cliff if it's not raining.
Yeah.
They also put wind generators at various points on the mountain to make it windy and cold and slippery. Yeah. So they've got to get up this mountain, and then they've got to walk away down the other side. It's not marked. And they've got to always have, I think it's either 30 or 50 kilos of rocks in their backpack, plus water.
Yes.
And the water they drink basically disappears, and they replenish that, but the water they piss out disappears. So they weigh them and they go, okay, put another rock in your backpack. And that's devastating to hear. Put another rock in your backpack, and it's like, ugh. And then you've got to keep on trudging. And that's just one of the tests. Speaking of anxiety, I'm having high anxiety day to day for no apparent reason. Right. This is what I'm talking about, okay? What we eventually found out was that my anxiety, the high anxiety I had, was chemical. Happens in your brain. Something goes on, a switch goes on, endorphins happen, and bang, the anxiety hits. And I can be having a wildly fun day. When I was over at Angry's, I was having a wildly fun day. We were working, we were having a good time, we were making up fun stuff. And then it hit, and then I'm just going, okay, because it feels like you're dying. It feels like you are either about to or you are dying. And if you can recognize the signals, okay, I'm at Angry's Studios. There's nothing here that's dangerous. I'm not in trouble. I'm not in any danger. This is an anxiety attack. You can go, right, what I'm going to do now is I have to ride this out, or I have to essentially take drugs to fix it. Don't be ashamed to take drugs to fix anxiety. Anxiety can fuck you up. When I first had the high anxiety, I would curl up in a ball in the corner of my flat, sometimes for a day until the boss of the house came and found me. And he would say, "What are you doing?" And I would go, "I'm freaking out, I'm dying." And he's going, heart attack? No. And then eventually we worked out high anxiety. And occasionally I still do it. And he comes in and says, "Come on, mate, come on, out of there, come on. We'll get your emergency drugs in here. They're just over there in the other corner of the room. They're in the other corner of the room, and I can't move to get them." This is how intensive this stuff is. This is how debilitating this stuff is. And if you don't catch it early enough, you can really shut down. I found out that having Asperger's doubles, triples your chances of getting high anxiety, because it can get triggered by definitely environmental things. But the environmental things come in and they stall. And you'll hear a noise or you'll see a thing that you don't recognise, okay? It could be a dandelion, or it could be a door painted a certain colour, or a smell, or a certain touch on a certain part of your body. Bang, you're gone. And you'll never identify it. You just won't, because they change and they swap places. You will never identify it, and down you go. If you can make it to your emergency drug stash, you're fine. If you don't have an emergency drug stash, the next thing to do, and this is a bit harsh, because Angry and I spent 30 years training to do it, is pretend. I have a lot of pain all the time, and you don't see me grunting and groaning and crying and going like, because I pretend, I conceal. When we were trained in theatre, we were all liars, and I was lying about being a poop my entire life. And but what I then learned when I was in theatre was to conceal, because you learn to conceal from the audience the things you don't want them to know yet, parts of story, props, images, the fact that the set that looks like 18th century manor house is in fact made of cancer.
Made of cancer.
Yeah, made of cancer. Made of canvas and sticky tape and wired together out the back. And if you bump it, it'll wobble. So don't bump the set. That's one of the first things you do is to bump the set.
Don't hit the set. Yeah.
It will ruin the illusion. And there are lanes that you go backstage. You must keep to your lane. Because it's dark. You've just come from a place where the lights are in your eyes, and you must learn to look through the lights at the audience, or you'll get blinded. And it's a bitch for a juggler, because juggling, you've got to watch the balls, and they'll go into the light. You'll get blinded. You won't see the fucking thing come down. Juggling under lights is so hard to do. The easiest way to do it, I shit you not, is to put the things on fire, so they've actually got their own light source and you can pick them. They tend to frown on it inside theatres, but what are you going to do? So then you learn to look through the lights. So then you go backstage, it's dark. There's sometimes, if you're lucky, the stage managers put tape on the lanes. Most of the time they haven't. It's usually keep to the left. There's a slot that you stand before you go on. People in the slot get first priority. If you're coming off, they can push past you to get on. And I was in a show where I had to escape down a trapdoor and through a tunnel, and there were a lot of other people who had to get up out of the trapdoors, and so I had to come down and out and get out of their way, and I never could, and so I was getting stomped on my back and head as these people had to run up through the trapdoor. And it sucked, because every night I was getting stomped and thumped. And there was one guy who deliberately kicked me in the head really fucking hard. So hard, in fact, that I passed out. And the stage manager girls dragged me out of there and tried like fuck to get me awake, because I was on in another 3 minutes. And they had to get me awake and compass before I went on. And I went, what scene am I doing? And they went, Jesus, you're doing the angel scene. And they were dressing me and making me up at the same time. And I went, oh, it's the angel scene. Oh, wow. We rehearsed this, didn't we? And they're going, fuck. And so Q came. Guess what? I had to just go on. It was the last time I bought them a hat. And I went on, and fuck me, I performed flawlessly and came off and collapsed. And they had half an hour to get me back up again. And they said, what's wrong? And they opened my eyes, and my eyes were pointing in different directions. Yeah. And the director was looking at this, because he was freaking by this point, going, this guy's injured. Well, we might have to shut down the show. And then he looked at my head, and it was cut from side to side where it had been hit. And he's gone, this guy's got a head injury, like a really fucking full-on head injury. They used a stapler. And stapled it back together.
Doctors use staples.
It's not Dr. Staples.
Oh, come on. How different could it be?
They put gaff tape on
Oh.
my head.
No.
Right. On my hair. They put gaff tape down and then they fluffed up my hair to sort of cover it. And back on I went.
I just want to say good night to nobody. The anxiety's kicking in a bit and he's going to go lie in a dark room. Self-care. Do a strategy that works for you.
Yeah. Do a strategy that works for you.
Me, it's a whiskey sour, but, you know.
Yeah. And then what had happened was, without this guy knowing, the director had seen this guy kick me. He didn't know he had seen me kick me. And the director was watching from the wings. The director usually watched from the back, but this night he was watching from the wings. And he saw this guy come up and give me the boot in the head. Yeah. And I got taken down to the hospital to get an x-ray because I might have cracked my skull. And I did. I had a hairline fracture. It was a tiny little fracture. The doctor said, "Are we putting this on Medicare?" And the director said, "No. Send the invoice to $650."
Yeah.
And he's handed it to this guy.
Yeah.
And he's gone, "What's this?" And he said, "That's the invoice for the x-ray to show the hairline fracture that you caused when you kicked him in the head." "Oh, I didn't. I saw you do it."
Yeah.
"Here's the $650. You will pay it by tomorrow." "Well, I don't have it." "You will find it. You will pay it by tomorrow, or you will be out of this fucking course forever. You will be invited to leave, and you'll be gone. Your locker will be emptied, and your shit will be thrown on the W35 wall," which is not a good look. I've seen it twice, and it's bad. People come from everywhere to go to class, or they come back from somewhere and they see their stuff, and they know, that's it, I'm expelled. And I've seen one girl just burst into tears. So she should. He found the 650. And then the director said, "You two guys are going to sit in a room. The cast is going to be watching from the theatre.
Yeah.
And the guys are just going to sit on stage. You're going to explain to him why you kicked him in the head. He's going to explain to you why he provoked you. And this is going to happen before we do the show. Call time is an hour early." So we sat down in chairs facing one another. And I'm like still a little bit wobbly. And he's gone, "Oh, I kicked you in the head because of blah." And the director's gone, "That's bullshit. Try again." And he said that about 4 times before the guy actually said the reason. And the reason was this guy came in as a loser in first year. True story. True story. And at the end of first year, I had friends and roots, and I had gotten a lot better. And by second year, I was beginning to be one of the superstars. And by third year, I was a total superstar. I was getting lead roles. I had 4 lead roles, which is unheard of, because they spread them around. And but I auditioned for them and I earned them. A lot of guys who are superstars don't audition for roles; they just ask for them. And I just went and sat in the auditions and auditioned for the roles because I didn't think I was more special than anyone else. And I knew damned well I wasn't fucking talented. So I just had to rely on skill. I didn't get them all. And what I did from second year to third year was I decided I was going to be in every show there was in some capacity, be it tech or acting, because I didn't have enough money.
I need to take this. Sorry, you keep talking.
Okay. I didn't have enough money to attend the shows. I couldn't afford to go. So the only way I'd see the shows and see everybody's skills is to be in them. So I would audition to go to these shows. And if I didn't get in, then I'd ask to be on the tech crew. And I'd usually get in the tech crew. And if I didn't get on the tech crew, I would be on the set build crew. And the 2 times on the set build crew, I worked with our set builder, Ron Arrow, who was a fucking genius. It's no question. Angry, tell me that Ron Arrow wasn't a genius. He can't hear me. When he comes back, I'll ask him again. He used to be given the most ridiculous requests for building sets and building the images on stage, and he would make them. He would make them happen. We needed a door that would open normally, that would collapse in on itself, and that would fall over. And then it had to go back to being normal. When one person opened it, it opened normally. When another person opened it, it was like a top hinge was broken. When the police stormed the place, the whole door fell in flat on top of the miscreant. And they all ran into the door to find him. And they couldn't find him, so they ran outside to look where he'd gone outside. And they ran inside again. He was under the door, and finally he groaned. It was a true story. It actually happened. And it happened like that. It was, it's, part of police law, LORE. And he made this fucking door that did all that. And the way he did it was he made a chain link hinge down the bottom. Okay, so that was fixed, and that rotated back and forth and in and out and right over. And up the top was a wire and a spring with a hook in it. The spring with a hook in it went into another chain link, and if you left it in, it'd open like a normal door. If you took it out, if you opened the spring, it'd hit against the wire and collapse against the door jamb. And if you unhooked the wire and unhooked the top fix, it'd fall right in. Brilliant. And so as not to kill the actor, when the door fell over in, out came hidden supports that were just as big as his nose. And it basically it all flicked out and came down upon him, and it looked like it was squashing him, but in fact it was actually sitting above him. And you couldn't see these things, but as soon as the door came in, they flicked just through gravity. They just came out and supported him. I was just saying to the peeps, tell me Ron Arrow wasn't a genius.
Oh, my God, that guy was beyond. Like, for 20, 30 years. It's like...
next fucking level.
Yeah.
Right? I saw the guy take a wheelbarrow full of about 80 kilos of stuff, and I just went, Jesus, Ron. He was 70 when he was doing this. And I went, Ron, can I give you a hand? And he went, no, some people pay for this as exercise. And he was sweating piss. He was pissing sweat. Sometimes he's lifting these 70-kilo wheelbarrows full of shit.
Yeah.
And I, whenever I had a problem building something, I would go to his office. And if he wasn't working on a set, he'd be lead lighting. And you put cut pieces of coloured glass together, and you melt lead as the frame. You see them indoors, you see them in windows. And he would make these intricate things. He he made a dog with a lamp in it. And the dog would roll across the room because it was on chains.
Right.
And you push the dog and it would basically wander across the room so that it would light the kitchen or the living room or the lounge room, but not put a lot of light everywhere else.
Yeah.
So you could mood light this house, and he made this all out of LED light. And genius. And then the guy, and I was telling him about the sets that he would make.
Yeah.
And
yes. It's like, Ron, you have 5 paddle pop sticks, a roll of butcher's paper, and a budget of $5 for extras. Can you make Macbeth's castle? And it's like, yes.
And
yes,
it
I
would
can.
always be, yep. Our modern stereo systems, no shit, basically relied on an invention he made.
I remember that, yes.
Yeah. He had a friend who was trying to do it. And he went, what if you put a buffer between the magnet and the cardboard? They both decided on a cardboard cone. What if you put a buffer between the magnet and the cardboard?
Yep, you froze, or I froze. One of us froze.
It sponged back in rather than slapped back in, cracking everything.
Yes.
And you can't make it out of metal, right? Because it's all electric. You can't make it out of sponge because it just disintegrates. And so they made it out of a thing that eventually we now call memory foam. But they invented it. Ron didn't want the patent.
Yeah. And I actually, when you started your story, there was a show when blah, 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 blah. And I said, there was also a show AZ was in where he was meant to gently kick me in the bum with his foot obliquely, sort of, so the side of his foot hit me in the bum. And one night, inexplicably, his foot came in at 90 degrees wrong, and instead of going flat on my bum, went up between my legs and kicked me square in the balls from behind. And fortunately, from my perspective, there was a scene like it was commedia dell'arte. It was clowning, and he did that. Half-mast. He did that to get his character did that to get my character's attention, and it was also meant to make my brain kick in. And then I say to him, I know what you mean. And I pointed him or maybe touch him. And that night I went, I know. And I punched him when I went, and he said afterwards backstage, he's going, I wasn't sure how bad it was. I knew it was bad until you punched me. Then I knew how bad it was.
Then I knew how bad it was. And every time Angry starts the story, I'm going, I am never, ever going to live that down.
You are never living that down.
Never
living do that down. Flat sort of side of your foot across my buttocks, so I barely felt it, and instead your foot comes in like this, straight up between my legs.
And we did that show maybe 30 times, and I fucked it once.
Only once. It was we did a great run of the show, and that happened once.
And I can't remember why I did it. I might have slipped on my back foot. I think I slipped because we were in these weird shoes, and our characters' shoes were particularly slippery. They were made out of lino, and we had to rough them up on the stage.
Yeah,
and so it took a little while, and a couple of us. I was one of them. I went over on my ass once or twice, and the other one, the three of us, the Zani, the other one just went over all the time. He just couldn't get the hang of it, and he injured himself in the buttock bone. He cracked it when he went over once. He came on his coccyx. Because he knew he was going down, he went to the side.
It was his hip.
Hit the sort of hip buttock bone and cracked it. And he could have pulled, but he didn't. He kept on going. We were very gentle with him, but he kept on going. one of the guys got a testicle torsion during the show.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is your testicles twist in the scrotum,
Mm.
and they just do. It just
Portion
happens.
testicles, yes.
And it is one of the most painful things.
Oh, yeah. No,
It comes on.
That will lay you low.
It comes on, and then it comes on stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. But in about 15 minutes, you're on the ground screaming.
Mm.
And no one can do anything. And the only one with initiative will call an ambulance.
Yeah.
And the ambulance guys can't get anything out of you. And eventually in the hospital, you go balls, and the doctors will look and they go, it's a testicle torsion.
Yeah.
That's surgery. And they'll fix it and they'll
Sorry, Gecko's just pointed out they made an episode about testicular torsion on the Venture Brothers, the animated show, and they did. It was, and then they did a public service announcement at the end of the show, and it was absolutely surreal. You've got the animated characters standing still, speaking robotically because they're reading it. We had some laughs today about testicular torsion, but it's not. And their eyes are going left to right because like they're reading cue cards. And we had some fun today, but testicular torsion is no joke. And it's like, oh my God. Gecko's a theater guy. He's been sharing all these stories of crew. He saw Les Mis from the rigging.
that'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Because the crew in those high-end, big-budget movies hate the cast.
I think he means the stage.
Okay.
Yeah, he's saying in high school, a new actor was supposed to be angry at another character and got himself all worked up backstage and almost knocked the guy out when doing the thing. He said he was at the light desk at the back of house and just heard this snap.
Wow.
He went up and got a bag of ice from the concessions and snuck backstage. That guy's going to need a bag of ice.
Yeah. Bring the swelling down for the next act.
Yeah.
We got taught, all of us got taught how to stage fight really well. Like
stage fighting
really
fun.
well.
Yeah.
Stage fighting's hilarious, and the best stage fight accolade you can get is when you're in front of your class, your stage fighting class, and you do a move, and you do it so well that everyone in the class thinks, oh, they fucked it, and they've hurt each other.
Yeah.
And was it you and me, or was it someone, me and someone else?
I got really into it with Ben Heaps.
Did we did a headbutt?
Yeah, no, that was Ben Heaps' party trick, and that wasn't something we were taught. It was something he knew how to do. How to do a convincing headbutt on someone. You actually grab the front. You grab the front of their head, and it's as if you're doing that to be him, and you headbutt the back of your hand, so they actually don't really feel it. But you've got one hand at the back of their head supporting it, so they don't actually damage their neck. But then you're controlling their head, and you just go bam and push their head back. And the head goes back really suddenly, and yet you tend to make a satisfying smack when you headbutt your hand, and their head snaps back, and you push them back, and all they have to do is follow through. They just follow through on the push, and it just looks like you nutted them the fuck out. And
you get guys who know it's coming because they see the moves, and they do such convincing. Like I saw one guy that Ben Heaps did, and he's like nutted him. And he's gone back, and he hasn't fallen over straight away. He's just he's started to wobble, and then he's gone to vomit, and then collapsed, and he's collapsed crunch, and then his body's convulsing like he's going to vomit because you can. When you hit someone hard enough, they vomit.
From a concussion,
And fucking the whole party's like shut down and going, Christ, Ben, what have you done? And then he jumped up and went, ta-da! And went, you motherfuckers.
Yep.
In our class, I don't know who it was, we said we're going to have one dominator and one dominee. And the dominee is the controller of the action.
Yes.
The one getting hit.
Much like in Kinky Sex.
Yes. One
Very
who
much like kinky sex.
controls all of the moves, all of the timing.
Yeah.
And then we said we'll do one where we both come out of character and go, Jesus, man, are you okay? And one of us will collapse. And I was the one who collapsed. And so we've hit and we've gone, oh my fuck. Oh, Jesus. Dude, are you all right? Are you okay? And I've come back and wobbled. And I've just fallen down like a bag of shit because there were mats on the ground. And I've just fallen down like a bag of shit and just face to the crowd. And we snuck a blood capsule in my nose. And fuck, they're expensive. Back then, they were like $25, which was
the good one. You can get cheap ones,
right?
But they don't look like blood.
The only thing that hurt was as his head butted me, he's had to pop the blood capsule so that it started to ooze. And then I've hit the ground and the blood capsule's like coming down. And I sucked a bit of it down the back of my throat and it's coming out of my mouth and out of my nose. Yeah. And I'm just on the ground. And the director sat still, Bill Blakey. Nothing got past him.
No.
Fucking nothing got past him. But the class got up and went, fuck. And started to do the CPR that we got taught on me straight away. They got me on the back and they started to feel bones. And they went and dealt with the partner because he was on his ass just going, Jesus, ow. And they thought we'd fucked up. And we went, and then I got up and went, stop. And we both went up and went, and that was our finale. Sorry for being bastards. And all the class came back and went, I'll get fucked. Get fucked. That was. And the director got up and went, that was very convincing. And you know what, lads? For about a half a second, I thought, shit.
Yeah. I was about to say blood packs are always good for that sort of thing. And particularly if the person who's hurt tries to hide it from the other person, go, I'm fine. And you go, and then it's like if you get, I've seen one where someone palmed a blood pack. I'm fine. And then they just squeezed it and it starts coming out through their fingers. And they go, no, it's good. It doesn't work if you roll around screaming, I'm in pain. It works if you are trying to not show a lot of pain, but there's blood.
The best one I've ever seen was a brilliant comic who hates me now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. And he had got a syringe, and he got the syringe so the end poked in, so that you could put it in you, and it looked like it had gone in, and he put it in the corner of his eye.
Oh shit!
And then he injected heroin into the corner of his eye. And on the outside of the syringe was clear liquid. On the inside of the syringe, because he is this good. He's a genius. This guy was a blood mix that he'd made himself, and it went into the corner of his eye. So it went into his eye. His eye goes red and then starts to drip blood.
Oh, Jesus!
What a fucking effect! People lost their shit. A third of the audience got up and left.
Because it was too much. Yeah.
It was too much. It was purge night. Every year the comics have purge night. You get on stage and you say jokes, and you can only go so far. You can only go so far before you have to stop and not be more than that. But as a comic, you build up these disgustingnesses and rudenesses that just eat at you, that you want to say. And there's these whole routines that build themselves in your head. And you go, one night when I'm really pissed off at the crowd, I'm just going to let this go. And so they invented purge night where you could come and do those routines, and there was a winner. There was a winner who disgusted the crowd the most, and
The most disgusting.
and Christ, if you went to purge night, everyone who went to purge night saw the Dawbridge, and the Dawbridge went, you do understand you're at purge night. You do understand this is not going to be comedy in the normal way. Because you get people pissing on one another at purge night. I'm serious. This is the kind of thing that goes on. You get people doing games of slaps until they can't keep going.
Yeah.
You get people, oh God, there was one woman who pretended to be a retarded woman in a wheelchair who was having an irregular period and was talking about how she was raped regularly by her carer. She was saying this like it was a normal thing. Sometimes it hurts when Terry does bubba with me, and I get red in my pants like now. Anyway, she lifts up her skirt and she's organised to have a period undies thing going on, which is leaking. And it was like, oh my God. It was again pure genius. Oh, it's me. I thought someone was knocking at the door. It's me bouncing my bed.
Yeah.
Do
you remember Jimmy and the Boys? Did you ever? Was Ignatius Jones in the late 70s? And they were the shock rock act in Australia. The most notorious one he ever did, because there was a trans woman in the lineup before trans people were particularly accepted at all.
That was not an accepted thing. They were not.
Absolutely not. There was this woman in Jimmy and the Boys, and there was Carlotta from Lay Girls, and those were the only two known like trans women in Australia. And one of the shows, Ignatius Jones, who's the Jimmy and the Boys, very convincingly goes down on this other band, and lies it down and like lifts the skirt up and very convincingly goes down on her, and then gets up with his face covered in what looks like menstrual blood, because they've had like a blood pack under the dress, and he's sprayed it all over, but his mouth's full of it too. And he gets up and there's blood everywhere, and the crowd's going, ew. And then he spits it across the first two rows of the audience and just sprays them. And it was like, they were so into the show, like everyone knew that's a stage prop, but it was so convincing. They were just like, he's spitting menstrual blood on me. You know, you could taste it and go, no, it's chocolate syrup. But that was his most notorious one, going down on her and then spraying the first two rows with what looked like a mouthful of menstrual blood. And that was the thing that was regarded as entertainment in Australia.
Oh, and more. And so much more.
Oh, that was just the one thing, but their shows were non-stop.
Yeah, there was so much stuff in Australia in the late 70s that was all about what Midnight Oil was singing about. It was about excess. It was about where are we going? Why are we doing this? We have sold everything to make money for a few people.
Yeah.
And there are people who are robbing people in the streets. There's always been a big problem in Australia that lower class people rob lower class people. And it's like, there's a guy in Northcote who, if I can catch the motherfucker, I did get him once. He stole a sandwich from another homeless guy I know. And it could have been the only food he had to eat. So I went up and I provoked him and he hit me. Hit me in the nose, bleeding, and everything was great. The cops said, do you want to charge him? And I said, most definitely. He got 50 days in jail. The cops, I said to the cops, do you want me to go to the trial and stand up? And they said, there is so much video of the fight, you could organise a 3D walkthrough.
Right. Everyone had their
This guy
phones
has
out. Yeah.
effectively no defence.
Mm.
And he didn't. He pled guilty, and the judge went, "Yep, okay, 50 days."
Yep, you are guilty.
And he was shocked. He was like, "What?" And the judge went, "You punched the guy. You pushed the cripple 4 times, and then you punched him in the back of the head twice." And he did, but he only got my hair.
Yeah.
He missed me by millimeters. If he got me, I was in trouble. So he's on a fucking pedestrian crossing, right? And then when I turned around, I said, "What are you? Come on, what are you, being a big man?" And then whack, straight in the nose, and down I go. And of course, as I go down, arms go out, the stick goes, and oh God, I'm going down. I hit really hard. Brake fall, people.
Yeah, we learned that shit. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, I'm clearly dying. And people come to my aid, and no, you put your head back for a nosebleed. No, you put your head forward for a nosebleed. And ambulance turns up, and they fix me up. And the cops turn up, and the cop to look for shade sits in the ambulance, and says, "So you conscious?" And I go, "Yeah." "You want to press charges?" "Most definitely." "Righto. Do you want to give me a statement?" "Happy to." "Righto. Well, the station's down there. Do you want to lift in?" "No, I'll walk. It's just down there. Edge in the car." And I did. I walked into the nice room of the police station, gave her a statement, which was maybe peppered, and spiced. But very detailed.
Bit of spice.
Spiced. And the cop was having a bit of a giggle because he went, "That's a lot of detail. Could you recall it in court?" And I went, "Every fucking word." And he went, "Almost like you wrote it on your way here." "Well, it happened." And he said, "Yes,
it happened.
We have the videos." And the statement was read out in court, and the judge loved it, because it did copy the videos, and it had aspiring class words in it. It didn't have scumbag words, and it had aspiring class words in it. There was no swearing. There was all sadness at this guy's plight. Anyway, this prick, I found out after, and I would have fucking gone him if I'd have known. He goes round to especially junkies, especially homeless people, and there's a busker who hangs out at Northcote Mall playing his guitar, and he's clearly got IV problems. He was crying at me once because he was supposed to spend money on a ferret for his son, but he used it on drugs, and he was desperately sad about it. And I said, "Dude, you've got a guitar, you'll make it back. I guarantee you'll make it back. You'll get that ferret." He said, "But I was supposed to give it to him today." And when I had my visitation, I said, "If you turn up with a ferret, even Mum is not going to bar you from the house." And when next time he see me, he says, "You were right, turned up with a ferret. I was allowed in. Give the kid the ferret, stayed for 20 minutes and hugged the woman and buggered off. And I was a hero for a day." Yeah. But this prick goes round to fucking homeless people with a fucking book.
Yeah.
And he fucking extorts money from them through violence and basically books up how much he thinks they owe him and writes down how much they fucking pay him. And one of these days, I'm going to fucking see him with his book, get the cops, and say, "Find the book." And as soon as they see that book, that motherfucker's going to jail for a long fucking time.
Yeah,
what an
as he should.
asshole.
Yeah.
You know,
Gecko wants to see the videos.
Sorry?
You talking about all the videos. Gecko's going, "Ooh, I'd love to see the videos." I don't think they're for public consumption, mate. We put them on YouTube.
I don't think once they've been in court, you're allowed to.
But it's bedtime as well. Although, okay, really quickly, Bobo was interested in top 3. I don't know enough about Australian comedy to say Australian comics. 3 outside Australia, and this is just off specials I've seen on Netflix or Prime Video or something, be probably Bo Burnham, John Mulaney, Flo and Joan, who I actually saw at the last Melbourne Comedy Festival that happened. They have a special on Prime Video that is actually the show I saw at the comedy festival. That is really funny. It's the same show I saw, and I still laughed quite a bit when I saw it on Prime. So it's a pretty good special. Bo Burnham's Make Happy is one of the single greatest bits of comedy theatre I have ever seen, ever, from anyone. It is absolutely brilliantly structured, and it's empathetic, and it's touching, and it's funny as fuck. It is so funny, and it's so technically perfect. He's amazing. Yeah. But you know the Australian scene. Who do you reckon, or have you been paying attention? Who do you reckon's good in Australia?
Right now or through time?
Yeah, whatever. If someone just said, who's someone who you could see now?
Shit, because that blows my first one out of the water. There's a comic called Mo McCackey.
That's pioneering mid-20th century.
Pioneering mid-20th
He's
century.
the inventor of Australian comedy, basically.
Yeah. And
he's amazing.
He was this Jew with this really big nose, and he used to wear clown makeup.
Yeah.
And comedy back then was songs and banter in the middle. And he would come on stage with a straight man and funny man. And usually you only had a straight man in a comic, but he would also come on with a funny man, and they would bounce off each other. And he was driving with his funny man to a gig, and there were guys on the side of the road, hot day, 32, 33 degrees. And these guys were shoveling asphalt onto the road, and they stopped to let the car go past. Mo McCackey says, "Fuck me," stops the car, gets out of the car, pisses all over the asphalt, and said, "If you lazy cunts can't even fucking be bothered to write a funny song, then you deserve to fucking shovel asphalt in the heat. Fuck you." Gets back in the car and leaves.
Oh my God. It's like, well, Mo McCackey's cancelled for that insensitivity.
And I'm just going, yep, you're the man. You're the man. You showed us. You are our mentor. You showed us the way. Because the comics are supposed to be all lovely and funny on stage, and when you get backstage,
that's brutal.
Fucking nails. Next one.
Look, I'll briefly explain while you think. That's my clarified drink.
Alan Bro tells the best stories in the world. I saw him do a show. He stopped doing comedy for about a year and a half. No one knew who he was. He was actually nursing his father to death of cancer, and he did a show about it, and there was a chair on stage, and he talked about the whole journey, and it was the saddest thing you've ever seen, because this guy's dying. You know he's terminal. You know he's dying, and funny as fuck. And then at the end of the show, and of course the chair, he's talking to the chair as his dad. There's only him on stage, and he's talking to several characters, but the chair is his dad. And at the end of the show, he pulls the chair back and lifts it up by its front legs and the back of the chair, and gently carries it off stage to lay out the body. And it was the most gripping thing you've ever seen. It was genius. I'm the best comic in Australia. Now, this is going to be controversial because he's not in himself the funniest guy you've ever met, but he is the best, the very best organizer of comedy and talent, and the best motivator of comedy. He made comedy happen
Mm-hmm,
for the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah.
Rove McManus.
Yeah.
He's a multi-millionaire. Deserves every penny. I was very proud of the fact that they chose my benefit to introduce Tamsin as his new girlfriend after Belinda had died. Tamsin actually introduced them, and Belinda, in her way, basically forced Tamsin and Rove to spend a lot of time together. And even to this day, we think that Belinda was setting them up because she wanted her man to have someone to look after him when she'd gone.
Yeah.
She was that kind of woman. She really was. And anyway, Tamsin and Rove got together, and Tamsin was terrified that the comedy community would reject her as jumping into Belinda's grave. And I met her backstage, and she was freaking. And I went, Tamsin, everything's going to be fine. And I went to the comics assembled in the slot, and I said, fucking awesome. I just found out that Tamsin and Rove are together. How fucking awesome is that? That is the most brilliant thing. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And the buzz went around. And then I went front stage where I had a lovely lounge seat. No, everyone else had chairs. I had a lounge seat. I went front stage and I started whispering among the comics because all the comics were watching the other comics because the first two young guys had raised the bar higher than everyone had seen. And so everybody had to raise the bar after that. And by the end of the night, we were getting fucking amazing stuff coming out of the stage. It was a really amazing night. I was really humbled by the fucking skill and just pure fucking funny that was coming off that fucking stage. Everyone did a great job. And I was whispering to the guys, oh, fucking Tamsin's here, fucking, you know, and Tamsin and Rove together, that's fucking awesome. And the comics were going, yeah. And they all got taught that it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, they mobbed Tamsin and Rove. And we're going, congratulations, that's fucking great. Because everyone was pining for Rove because he'd lost his wife.
Yeah.
And it was fucking 18 months after. And, you know, the man's heart broken because he's nursed his wife to death and married her just before she died. And everyone in the comedy community was just fucking gutted.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was new life and new hope and new beginnings for them, for them both, was a thing that I decided was joyous. And then the comics decided was joyous. And at the end of it all, Tamsin came up and gave me a big hug and a kiss and said, you are the best.
And you are. Yeah. But with that lovely, uplifting story, against all odds, we are finishing the night on a lovely, uplifting story. Don't say we never do that, because it's not all sickness and absurdity with us. Lovely, uplifting stories too. See you lovely people sometime soon. Take care, one and all. I'm going to bed. See you.